here's another example of an otherwise decent guy, or so it seems to me, made stupid by his religion, and what it tells him to think about things of which no one knows anything. I'm talking about Christian apologist Sean McDowell answering the question, how could God send a good person to hell?
How could God send a good person to hell? This is a tough question.
Made tougher by the fact that no one knows anything about God or hell. What Sean is about to tell us is nothing more than pure speculation based on the 2,000-plus-year-old writings of absolute ignoramuses who believed in demons, talking snakes, and magical dirt water potions that'll reveal your wife's adultery.
Well, here's a few things that might help wrestle with this.
Unfortunately, Sean has his holy book, which cannot be questioned, a book written by geniuses who believe that God sends she-bears to kill children who mocked his prophet, a book which permits a man to sell his daughter into slavery. So we know that book has to be right about everything, right?
Number one, is there any such thing as a good person? The Bible certainly says no. Jesus said it's out of the heart that sinfulness and lust and anger and sloth come from. The heart is fallen and it's broken.
And who exactly designed our hearts, Sean? Who set things up so that one fictional character's decision to eat a piece of fruit made all of our hearts wicked and sinful, fallen, as you say?
Paul in Romans 3 said nobody does good. No one does.
Is that the same Paul who thought that homosexuals deserve death and that women should shut the fuck up in church? It is. Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
In fact, if we just look at human history, or the 20th century alone, it's clear that masses of human beings have contributed to great evil.
Is Sean talking about genocide? Because genocide is one of God's favorite hobbies. But of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, but thou shalt utterly destroy them. If there are no good people, there are clearly no good gods.
If we look at our own hearts, all of us know we've done things that are not right. There is nobody who's good. So God doesn't send good people to hell because nobody's good.
Did Sean just get God off on a technicality? Wow. Sean McDowell, you are truly the Johnny Cochran of Christian apologetics. Well done, my friend.
But second, does God send anyone to hell? If C.S. Lewis is right in his book, The Great Divorce...
Whoa. Now you're not even quoting scripture, but some guy named Clive? This is the best you've got? All right, go ahead.
He says, in the end, there's really only two kinds of people. Those who say to God, thy will be done, and those to whom God says, thy will be done. All who are in hell choose it.
Okay. I'm telling you right now, right here, just so we have it on the record, I'm not choosing hell.
Now you might say, why on earth would anybody choose hell? Well, what Lewis says is we make these small daily decisions that distance us from God. I've had people tell me straight up that, look, I'm going to commit some sin. If I have to continue in that sin, if that's going to keep me away from God, then so be it. A famous atheist recently died, and he said, if stories come around of me in a bedside conversion, it's not true. I will not believe in God. The human ability to claim autonomy is powerful. And if we don't want to believe in God, God will let us not believe in Him.
So, Sean, all you've done there is tell us that God will allow us to not believe in Him. How gracious. But that's not even close to choosing an eternity of sadistic violence for oneself, especially when we don't actually make that choice to believe or not. I just don't. Neither do you. I've spent my life looking into the question of God's existence and Jesus, etc. And my believometer is just stuck at 0. That's it. And you know I can't lie about it because God will know I'm lying. So no, Sean, no one chooses an eternity of sadistic violence. Do you know how stupid you sound when you say that?
So why doesn't God just forgive us? Well, the bottom line is that it's only on the cross that God's love and justice meet. You see, God couldn't be a loving, just God and simply look the other way at sin.
Who's asking God to look the other way at sin? We're just asking him not to torture people forever for stealing a candy bar or eating a nice piece of fruit, and especially not for our failure to believe a story for which there is insufficient evidence. That is sick shit, Sean.
It requires a payment or a punishment.
That's why when my stepson didn't turn in his homework, I tortured him for days, burning him with cigarettes and letting rats nibble at his testicles. But even then, I didn't let that go on forever. Jesus, man, the punishment has to fit the crime for it to be just.
And at the cross, we see God taking that upon himself through the person of Jesus, who is the only good person who's ever lived.
Not according to you, Sean. You believe Jesus is God, the same God who ordered and committed genocide, which you were appalled by when 20th century humans did it. You called it evil. Justice demands that you call it evil when God does the same, meaning Jesus is just as bad or worse than the vast majority of us. I'm going to go with that second option, Sean, because I think Jesus is worse. Only a genuinely sick, sadistic being would create a world filled with... Crap, how did Prager put it again?
This life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
Thank you. And then create a place of eternal sadistic torment for those who act less than ideally in such a world. Or worse, for people who simply don't believe your bullshit. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.